Well, this game and this season to this point has me fighting a war with myself. Jays lose 4-3 in the final game of a 4-game set in Cleveland against the Guardians. Man. So yeah, inside every sports fan is the battle between the rational, understanding sports fan that has been around, understands how things work, and is generally trying to be calm and objective about things, and the hot take machine that all of us have just below the surface ready to froth up at a moment's notice. This game ends a very notable chunk of the schedule where the Blue Jays were asked to play right out of the chute of the season 30 games in 31 days, which is pretty nuts. Now, that's not unique around baseball. A lot of teams had to play a lot of games very early to make up for the shortened spring training and the lockout that compressed the schedule. But the Blue Jays drew one of the shortest straws. 30 games in 31 days is a lot, and it has the potential to tax a pitching staff very early in a way that can kind of put them behind the 8 ball early in a season. And we haven't really seen that in the Blue Jays yet, but we have started to see some warning bells about some of our pitchers, particularly some of our high-leverage relievers, maybe being a little overworked, maybe not being quite as sharp as we have become accustomed to seeing them be. But whatever, it's Major League Baseball. No one cares about your problems. Go win in spite of them or go home. But right now we have the opportunity to kind of reassess with an off day tomorrow and a slightly easier schedule in terms of games played, not in terms of quality opponents, because that's never going to change, but in terms of number of games played relative to the number of days that have passed. We're not quite as pedal to the metal as we have been to this point, so we can actually kind of take a breath and maybe assess. After 30 games, the Blue Jays are 17-13. If you told me that at the beginning of the season that they would go 17-13 in their first 30 games, I would say, okay, not ideal, not the best you could possibly hope for, but certainly more than good enough considering that we're still only in mid-May. But I can't help but look at these 30 games and think that the Blue Jays left at least 4 of them on the table. With a really lackluster offensive performance pretty much through the whole stretch, and a couple of unfortunate bullpen meltdowns. And not even really meltdowns, just bullpens giving up runs as they will occasionally do, with the offense not doing anything to support them whatsoever. So this is where that kind of internal struggle comes up, because I've got the rational takes and I've got the hot takes. For example, hot take: oh my god, could more than 2 guys know how to hit at any given time? Why is it that in one game, Bo Bichette looks like a world beater, and the next day, he's forgotten what a strike looks like? Why is it that Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has gone on vacation for a week and a half? Rational take: okay, they're just now starting to look like themselves. They still don't have Jano back. They are easing into it, and there have been lots of good signs that make you think that a return to form is on the horizon, so we must have patience. Hot take: why Adam Simber and Tim Meza? Why did you save your bad performance for this game? Why couldn't you have done it when we were up in the Gosman game? Why did you have to we gave away the series against the Guardians? Why did we do that? Rational take: relievers give up runs, even the really good ones. Sometimes those runs are unfortunate, but there's 162 games in the season, and the reason for that is that true talent bears out over time. Relax, we're fine, it's fine. Hot take: no, we're not. Oh my god, we could have been in first place. We could still be in first place. So you see, this is what we're going through here. This is what we're doing. I am still of the opinion that the offense is showing enough signs of life that I feel like we are on the cusp of an offensive breakout across much of the lineup. Gurriel looks pretty lost right now, but Kirk is right on it. Vladdy is hitting the ball hard, but a lot of them are finding gloves. Santiago Espinal continues to be clutch. George continues to be clutch. You know that Bo is going to come around. Teo, now that he's getting his at-bats, you know that he's going to improve the quality of pitches that Vlad sees. There's going to be a snowball effect. I can feel it. We're right on the doorstep. I can feel it. And we're at an excellent time in the schedule for that to happen, because I think our next few series are against New York, and then in Tampa, and then at home against the Mariners. All 3 teams that we're going to be competing against for playoff spots. So if the offense does what I think the offense is about to do, break out against these teams, that would be phenomenal. But it's hard to deny that I am now legitimately concerned that this is just who we are, that we are seeing a regression, not away from the mean, but to the mean. Is it possible that Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero just had the best seasons of their careers in their early 20s? I mean, I doubt it, but it's possible. Teoscar Hernandez kind of came out of nowhere, and one of his silver sluggers that we tout happened in a 60-game joke of a makeup season. Is it possible that he just had a really hot 200 games and now he's regressing to his true talent level? Well, we've only seen him in 8 games so far this year, but maybe? Keith Law has seen a lot of baseball, and sometimes he gets dunked on around Blue Jays circles because, he doesn't say the things we like. But Kevin Biggio has kind of turned back into a pumpkin like he said he would, and he never really saw Lourdes Gurriel Jr. as being a reliable everyday player either. Was he right about both these guys? Maybe. One thing we can hang our hat on, we have 3 legitimately ace caliber pitchers in our starting rotation. That is great. That is a great foundation to start with. But one of the qualities you look for in an ace is reliability. That's Gausman. That's Manoah. And today Manoah didn't have his best stuff, but he still battled and he kept the team in the game. That's ace stuff. Those 2 guys, I think. But Barrios is a little erratic, and you can kind of almost guarantee that he will have 5 to 6 starts a season where he'll just absolutely lay an egg. We've already seen that a couple times this year. Is he really as good as the contract we gave him says he is? I think he is, but And Kikuchi's here for 3 years. Is he any good? Sometimes super not. Hyunjin Ryu, is he turning into a pumpkin now too? Has he just reached the end of his rope? I mean, they were gushing about how healthy he looked in his last Buffalo start, but his numbers weren't anything special. He gave up a bunch of runs and some hard hit balls. How excited are we that he's coming back? Like, the pieces are all here for this team, and we've seen each of these pieces perform brilliantly at the major league level for extended periods for all of the pieces of this team. But so far this year, and we are not an insubstantial chunk of the way through the season here, so far in this season, we haven't seen all the pieces come together. Ever. Like, have we had a game where the offense comes out to a comfortable lead, the pitcher does his work, and then the bullpen coasts us home to an easy win where we never doubted it at all? Maybe. I don't remember it. The closest thing I can think of is the game a couple days ago in the first part of the doubleheader with Gausman cruising through 6 innings, but that game still featured Trent Thornton. Oh, God, I hate saying his name. Trent Thornton coming in and walking 3 guys. I mean, it wasn't comfortable at the end. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Chapman at this point seems like Randall Grichuk, but with great third base defense, which is more desirable, sure, but not exactly a big boost to the offense. And yeah, Espinal has been great considering where our expectations were, but you plug him into second base and he's no Marcus Semien, because really nobody was. Even Marcus Semien this year isn't who Marcus Semien was. A full season of George Springer is great, and he is doing George Springer things, but Vladdy has stepped back. Bo has taken a big step back. We've been missing Teo this whole time. Lourdes is a big question mark. If Chapman is just Randall Grichuk again, I mean, is this team... God, I can't believe I'm at this point saying this. Is this team going to score runs? I keep saying that we're just waiting on them to just turn into who they are. Do we now have to think about that maybe this is who they are? Like, listen, even great hitters have down seasons. I mean, even a young Miguel Cabrera wasn't great every year. Even a great Jose Abreu isn't great every year. Is this just a year that Vlad is merely very good? And if Vlad is having an off year, if Bo has regressed, if Teo is going to be inconsistent, if Lourdes is going to be inconsistent, all of a sudden this lineup looks a lot less fearsome and a lot more punch and Judy, especially if injuries are going to come into play later in the year. I mean, honestly, outside of Jano and Teo, and Biggio, I guess, this team has been pretty healthy. So I don't know, I'm at the point now where I can talk myself into being really concerned, and I can talk myself into being completely calm. This is the nature of the duality of the Toronto sports fan, and maybe it's just Toronto sports has scarred me. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm in my feelings about the fact that the Maple Leafs got absolutely slapped today, or maybe it's just me seeing some troubling trends after having watched a lot of baseball in my years and recognizing some legitimate warning signs. I don't know. It's hard for me to unpack because I'm too close to it. I recognize that I am not objective. I am too close to the situation. I care about this team too much. I find it hard to take a look at it and analyze the data with any kind of real objectivity. I own that. I'm honestly least concerned about the starting pitching because I think that with Ryu and Kikuchi being kind of Jekyll and Hyde, even if they just kind of like good start, bad start, good start, bad start their way through the rest of the season, as long as the other three guys are still performing well, I think that's a starting pitching situation that most clubs in the American League would envy. I need to see it from the offense. I need to see it particularly from Bo and Lourdes. I believe that Teo, he's only played 8 or 9 games, right? So the book's not closed on him, whatever. But Bo and Lourdes in particular have looked bad for long enough that I need to see them return to form before I believe that this whole thing was an anomaly. I'm starting to believe that this might be not who they are, but that last year's great success might have been above their regular production. That rather than that being the norm or a sign of greater things to come, that they will actually settle back into being something a little less than they were last year, which changes the outlook for this team drastically. Because let's be serious, when you sign George Springer, a guy who was on the wrong side of 30, you sign him for the first 3 years, not the last 3. This is year 2, where you expect to get peak level George Springer. 3 might be asking a lot, but I think he can get 3 years of peak George Springer. After that, he's going to decline, which means that there's no more waiting for the window. This is the window. You have to kick down that window. You have to win now. And again, 17-13. 30 games out of 162. Long way to go, lots of positive signs, nothing really to panic about, but there's enough to be worried about that, I'm worried. So maybe an off day is good for me too. Maybe a day to just kind of breathe, relax, have some nice chamomile tea, get away from baseball for a bit, and then come back refreshed for, another series against the Yankees. Boy, not a lot of creativity in the schedule makers, huh? Like, come on, guys, let's get some variety here. Let's go. I won't lie, though. Very excited to play the Cincinnati Reds in a bit. Very excited about that. I don't know why I said that out loud just now. Okay, that's it. I'm done for the day. Jays lose. That's bad. I'm worried. It'll probably be fine. Probably. Not a mortal lock anymore, in my opinion. So, please win soon. Thank you very much for watching this channel. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like what you've seen, like and subscribe, etc. I will not see you tomorrow. I will see you on Tuesday for the first of a very short 2-game series in New York. See you then.